Hi and welcome to this new video. In this video I'm going to talk about the expenses for an exchange year in Japan, and I will give you my exact numbers. There will be a second part in which I will talk about how I managed to pay all of these expenses, and I'll give you some advice that I would have given my younger self. First, let me give you some information about my exchange year. I stayed in Japan from September 2019 to July 2020. I went as an exchange student for a language program, not a full-time student, not a degree-seeking student as they like to call it, and I stayed in a host family for the duration of the entire program. The university that I attended is a partner university of my home university here in Germany, and they're a private school in Kansai area. Just a short disclaimer, obviously the costs that I'm going to mention might totally differ depending on your home university, the agreement that your universities have, the university that you will attend, and where you are from. Some of my expenses were calculated in euros, some of them were calculated in yen, so I will put the converted rates of all euro, yen, and USD somewhere on the screen as of the date of editing. They might vary depending on when you happen to watch this video. Okay, let's get right into it. I don't want to keep the numbers secret from you guys, so the necessary expenses added up to about 8,500 euros for the duration of the program. Included into these costs are the tuition fees, the program fees, the compensation for my host family, and the housing stuff, so that includes electricity, internet, water, then also commuting costs to school, school books, and my flight to Japan and back to Germany. Not included into these costs are traveling expenses, going out with friends for lunch or dinner, and any other items that I bought during my stay, so clothing for example, or merch. So the 8,500 euros really are just the necessities. Okay, now let me break that number down for you. First, the flight. The flight was 806 euros and 84 cents. It was a return flight with Air France, and I booked it about 2 months before I went. It is obviously always better to book in advance because prices tend to be cheaper around that time. Also, the price depends heavily on where you come from. So a price from Europe to Japan will almost always be more expensive than someone coming from Korea or Taiwan. Next is insurance. I got an insurance for 499 euros and 1 cent from a German company, just a regular travel insurance. Once you arrive in Japan, you will also have to enroll in a national health insurance program. Everyone has to pay this, there's no getting around it, but there's a waiver for students to make it less expensive. I'm not exactly sure how much it is without the waiver, but it is really expensive, so do not go out and just pay for it before you got that waiver. With that student discount though, it is 2,000 yen a month, so that is 2,000 yen for 11 months, so that is 22,000 yen in total. Next are the school fees or program fees, tuition, however you want to call it. This is where most of my money went. These fees include paying for the program and all the services they offered, and also my host family. My host family was supposed to obviously offer me internet, water, electricity, but they were also supposed to offer me 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner, during the week, and all 3 meals at the weekends. The school fees were split into 3 parts. The first part included the welcome week, where they set up a Japanese phone number for us. They got us this pocket Wi-Fi thing, which included 30 gigabytes a month. And we stayed in a nice hotel for the first week. Included into that first part was also the expenses for the whole first semester. So that is from September until January. This added up to 431,202 yen. The second part was something they called winter intensive period, which was essentially classes during our spring break. So that's the payment for February and March, and added up to 139,696 yen. The last part were for the expenses of the second semester, so that's April to July, and added up to 280,736 yen. In total, this adds up to 851,634 yen. To get to school, I had to take the train, and I decided to get a commuter's pass because it was overall cheaper than buying a ticket every single day. My commuter's pass was 5,850 yen for 3 months, and I got 3 in total. The price of these depend on how far your train station is from the train station that is the closest to your school, but they will figure that out for you. They are generally cheaper though, because getting a new ticket every single day does add up to quite a lot. So I do recommend getting a commuter's pass if you have the chance to. Depending on where you live, you might also be able to just walk to school or take a bike, which is really common in some regions as well. The following expenses are more guesstimates because I didn't track the exact numbers, but these are 50 euros for copying, scanning, and sending things to Japan. Then I would guess an additional 150 euros for textbooks for the 2 semesters, and then lunch meals, which are between 300 and 900 yen depending on what you eat. I will blend in the total amount of euros, yen, and USD on the screen. Obviously, if you decide to go on an exchange, chances are you do want to do more than just sit in your room for the whole year, so there will obviously be also expenses for traveling and going out with friends, buying stuff, and so on. Those obviously do depend on what you want to do in your free time, where you live. Bigger cities are obviously always going to be more expensive than if you live somewhere on the countryside, but it is really important to keep that in mind when budgeting for an exchange year. There will be a second part in which I will talk about how I financed my exchange and some tips what to keep in mind. I will also link it down in the description once it's out. If there's any more questions or something you'd like me to talk about, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time.